Hi everyone, this is Prachi and I am here at the inauguration ceremony, or I can say inauguration gala of the American Association of Engineers of Indian Origin. And I have right next to me Mr. Gladson Verghese. He is the founding president of the association. The association is also known as AAEIO. And let's hear from Mr. Verghese what is the vision behind this association, and what is the mission, and then what was the idea that inspired him to start an initiative like this. Gladson, thank you very much for talking to us. Please give us more about idea about this association.
Okay, it was a dream come true for me to start this organization because I've been thinking about we don't have an organization like API for all the physicians. We don't have one for in America for engineers. So we wanted to bring all the engineers of all state, all culture, all language in one umbrella. That's the goal. So we thought about it, and somebody called me from San Francisco to start this organization, to start a chapter. We said, no, we don't want a chapter. We want to start an umbrella organization. Today we are inaugurating that. Congressmen, senators, professors, T-Hub CEO all going to join this event. There are a lot of people going to be joining in this event. I'm so excited to be about that. And for two things my goal or my vision is to grow this organization next 10 years to at 100,000 members. That's my goal. And also we are inaugurating a new project today called Incubator for Business. Whoever starting the business, we want to help the members as well as the community. So we are launching that today with the collaboration with T-Hub. They have a lot of funding. They're going to do a lot of training. They're going to mentoring. So people fail when they do new startups because lack of vision or product knowledge or don't have proper strategy or finance. So we're going to help all these startup companies. That we're going to launch it today. That's a great thing for our organization.
And I see the profile of all the founding members or the members of the organization, and all of the members of the association have great profiles and then have great experience. So, what are the upcoming activities? As you mentioned, you do have plans, like the incubator that you mentioned, and what are the initiatives as far as outreaching the community? How can the community members who are looking for organizations like this, how can they reach out to the organization like yours?
Yeah, our focus is mostly for engineers. So I get a lot of calls. People lost jobs. Can you help me find a job? And that's one thing. And also, a lot of kids graduated engineering out of college. They call us and say, "Can you find us an internship?" So our focus is those two things now for finding a job or job networking. I would say I cannot guarantee everybody get a job, and they have to go through the interview process, and also they have to getting an internship in some companies or our members company or some other company. That's one thing. And also we are planning to launch a webinar every month, one webinar. And also we're planning to bring all the startup companies to Chicago and do a mentoring plan. Those are the plans at the moment.
So all this information is going to be available somewhere online as well.
It'll be in our website. All this information we have a website, but we are developing a new website, so that'll be there within a month.
So as you all can see, there are great plans. There are some great initiatives that are soon going to be launched, and website soon will be available for everybody to avail the opportunities provided by the association. And Gladson, best wishes for the association. It's a great initiative, and I'm sure many people out there are going to get benefit from the association like that. And we look forward to more and more events and initiatives, and best wishes for a successful year and year and year, and then many more branches and locations to you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, now I have right here with me Mr. Nitin Maheshwari. He is the Vice President of AAEIO. Nitin, thank you very much for speaking with us. Nice to meet you too. Just wanted to get an idea about the vision and the idea behind this association. We already talked to the president of the association, Gladson Verghese. How about you throwing more light on the vision behind this wonderful initiative?
Th- Thank you, Prachi. Our vision is to basically unite the engineering community. As you know that we have had silos of a lot of engineers working together, the corporate working alone, and on top of that, the startup ecosystem. So our goal is to combine all the three together. The way we want to do it is our engage, promote, and educate. So we want to bring real life examples in education into technical business, what's driving. As you can see, the pandemic has changed a lot of things. Every industry is disrupted. New technologies are coming. For us to educate our members on what exactly is the latest with cutting edge technology. For example, today Dr. Mohan B. Swani from Kellogg School of Management will be speaking about what is the trends and opportunity in the post-digital world. So those are the kind of programming that we want to bring. And on top of that, for entrepreneurs, we want to create an incubator program where we we will help startups, corporate work on real life issues, a real life problem, bring the right people, and then find the solution.
So that's a very practical approach towards using initiative like this towards changing life and helping people. Nitin, anything that we special we are looking forward to in today's gala?
I think today's gala is all about coming, networking with everybody, talking to everybody. I'll be honest with you. How many months it has been that I've been on a podium? It's been 18 months, right? The pandemic has made it. So let's enjoy. Let's rock and roll. Let's be part of AAEIO and make the mission much more bigger and with your all help.
Sounds good. Best wishes for the gala and best wishes for the upcoming events as well. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very nice.
Thank you. All right, I am here with Mr. Ajit Pant. He is the president elect of the association AAEIO, and we are here for their inauguration gala. Ajit ji, thank you very much for speaking with us. And we all know you. We all know the experience that you bring on board. And you are all we know that you are the president elect for the association. Please give us a brief idea about your take on this mission that has been started by so many wonderful engineers out there.
Yes, I have some background on this. I have also been one of the founders of the IIT Midwest, and I'm still on the board of IIT Midwest. And this, an IIT is a Pan IIT is a very large organization itself. But I thought that the basic idea of getting together with all engineers across all states, all regions in India, and as well as engineers from the US. We bring them together, we get them bonded, and leverage the strength that it will be multiple times than even Pan IIT. So I hope that this is a good initiative that will take off soon and will do wonders for Indians here, Indians in India, and for the American system here. So as you know, so many Indian engineers are at the helm of the Fortune 100 companies. In fact, Fortune 10, if you take the first 10 companies, we have 3 or 4 of that are CEOs and have been CEOs, and they bring a lot to the table. So engineers, as so far, had not had one body together that can unite them and leverage their strength. And I hope that this body will be able to do that. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's very well said that this association will play a vital role in being the voice of the engineers of Indian origin. And then so far, nothing concrete has come up something like this. And this is a wonderful initiative. And we look forward to many more events and, more and more success to AEIO. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Prachi ji. Wonderful. Nice to have you here with us. Have a nice evening. Take care.
Thank you so much. All right, I have Mr. Abhishek Jan here with me. He is the treasurer of the association, and as we all know, we are here at the beautiful event for the inauguration gala of AAEIO. Abhishek, thank you very much for speaking with us. As we all know, you are in the role of treasurer for the association this year. Please give us more idea. Please throw more light on the future initiatives that you guys have in planning or in pipeline.
Sure. As as you know, the motto of the organization is to engage everyone, connect people, bring together, and promote various things. So, in this kind of mission, we are trying to promote learning initiatives, which we will announce in this event, as well as there are many incubator programs which we are announcing for entrepreneurs, and this will drive the community forward on the entrepreneurship journey, as well as people can have career development coming out of initiatives in this organization. We want people to learn the cutting edge technology so that the Indian engineers who are already seen with a lot of respect in the country gain more respect because of their cutting edge thing, be it artificial intelligence or machine learning or global climate change. All of this we'll try to put together learning programs so that everyone benefit from the network we are creating here.
So Abhishek, how far, so far, how has been the support from, for the initiative? How has been the response from the community and from the general public, especially from the people from this field? How has been the response from people?
The response is phenomenal. As you can see, this event, we are going to expect a full house here. And most of the people here are business owners and people who have done very well in their life. So this network which we are creating is going to benefit a lot for people who are in their career still growing and aspiring to be either entrepreneurs or very successful business leaders. So this coming together of the community is very promising start.
And you very well said that people have been handpicked for the association. There are people who are, who have done great work in their respective field and their career as well. And I'm sure this association is going to go higher and higher. Thank you very much for speaking, and best wishes to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, I have here with me another wonderful board of directors from the association AAEIO, Mr. Nag Jaiswal. We all know him, a wonderful community leader and a community supporter. Nag, first of all, congratulations on being on board of this association. So far, we have talked to the members of the association. They have talked about the vision and the mission behind starting an initiative like this. So, could you give us more about idea about what are the plans of connecting the engineers worldwide, and what is the plan for the outreach, and how is it going to be a kind of voice for the engineers of the Indian origin? What are the plans of the outreach?
Thank you, Prachi. So we are million plus engineers in US, and we could be million plus across the world. Our intent here is to become the voice that represents everyone, whether it is H1s, whether it is I need to be an entrepreneur, I don't have a direction, the technology is changing, how can I get help? And that's one thing that we saw as missing. The medical doctors have API, the IITians have an association, the entrepreneurs have it, but the engineers, even though we are there for every aspect of life, we are missing that. And that's what we want to bridge it. We want to give that voice, bridge the connection, give the innovation a chance. You might have an idea, but you might not have an investor. You might have an investor, but you might not have the engineer. So we want to do that. And then for the next generation, we want to show them the path. So the high schoolers, the college goers, we can give them assistantships or internships and promote the talent. So that's the intent of one of the branches.
So that is wonderful. So as you guys heard, that this is going to provide a platform not for just the established engineers, but also for the students and those who are looking for opportunities. And they have brilliant ideas, but they are looking for platforms and opportunities like that. And uh, um, as far as connecting with the engineers, is it going to encompass all the engineering branches?
Yes, that's the intent. It is not about IT. So one thing that always when it comes to Indians is IT, but we are bigger than IT. We have Boeing, we have Praxair, we have chemicals, we have industrial gases, we have mechanical engineers. If you go to Detroit belt, it's all engineers. Ohio, Detroit, and all of that belt. Philadelphia, if you go New York, New Jersey, all engineers are different in the different segments. But I think IT became the main voice, but we want to bring all of them. And with the infrastructure bill coming in, we have civil engineers, we have the environmental engineers. All of them will have a voice through this organization.
So as you all heard, great plans are, are in making, and there is going to be an opportunity for great minds like these ones that I'm talking to, and many best wishes for the organization. And I'm sure there's going to be, many more successful initiative like this under this umbrella. Thank you very much for speaking with us, Nag.
Thank you, Prachi. Thanks.
All right, I have here Mr. Sanjeev Singh with me. We all know him, a great community supporter and a brilliant gentleman, a wonderful human being. And Sanjeev ji, I'm sure this is the, you are one of the assets of AAEIO, and then I'm sure that the association is lucky to have you on board, and I can definitely vouch for that. I have talked to many members of the association. One thing I just wanted to ask you was, what are the plans of the association in terms of reaching out to the engineers who are in this field for many years, but they are still kind of looking for more support as far as the new world, especially the post-pandemic world. What is there anything planned for initiatives like this to support the fellow engineers?
Thank you so much, Prachi, for the kind words. See, my purpose of being associated with this organization is just single purpose. I believe in education. Actually, this is what brought all of us here where we are today. And I think in the field of engineering, which is like constantly changing field, right? When I graduated from engineering college, what I knew and what I know, like there's no correlation whatsoever. So it's like we live in a very paradoxical world, There are people on the one side, if there are industries and companies, they're struggling to find the talent. On the other hand, people who are struggling to find a job because the technology they know or the skills they have, there's no market for that, right? So as a part of this fraternity, my goal is to see how do we bring us together and make sure we cross-train and uplift our fellow engineers who may be technologically outdated, but then with our support and collaboration and cooperation, we can kind of make them more re-employable by the industry. So that's one of something very core to my heart and which I want to contribute to our community.
No, that is a very wonderful idea as to like bridging the gap between what the organizations are looking for in the current world and kind of updating the skills of the brilliant engineers, but they need to, upgrade their skills. And so all this information that you're talking about, is it going to be available like online? And then, is there going to be an outreach in terms of reaching out to those kind of people and bridging the gap?
Absolutely. See, we plan to host some kind of events, more like we'll have the webinar, we'll have the training. But the key here is that we kind of bridge the gap. We bring the industries, some of the companies who are interested in volunteering their time, and then we'll bring the people who are interested in this training and kind of be the platform to bring them together and then let them help each other. And that's the best way we think we can help our community. Yeah.
Awesome. So all the wonderful, brilliant engineers who are, listening to us right now, a lot of stuff coming up from this wonderful association that has all these wonderful, supportive board of directors and members that have been making plans to extend support to the engineers out there. Stay tuned. There is a lot more coming up from AAEIO. This was Sanjeev Singh, board of director of the association.
Thank you. Thank you, Prachi.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you. All right, I have here with me this beautiful lady, Ms. Madhura Sane. She is the board of director of the association AAEIO that we are here for at the inauguration ceremony. Madhura, please tell us more about your role in the association and what are we looking forward to in today's gala.
We're very excited about today's gala. First of all, I got introduced as a board of director very early on, in fact, in the initial meeting. Very less people in Chicagoland area know me as an engineer. But yes, I am an engineer. I am a trained engineer. I have double masters from University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign in construction management and structural engineering. And I worked as a structural engineer for over 17 years in corporate America. Now, of course, I teach classical dance, Kathak. How I got involved with AAEI was with Gladson's encouragement. And I was part of the introductory meeting, obviously. And it was always good to give back to the community of the engineering that you are. And that's it.
And
We are very excited about tonight. We are expecting a lot of dignitaries around Chicago area, a lot of politicians. But at the same time, we are excited about the merger and the coalition that we are doing with Boeing this time, and also excited about helping fresh graduates and back home from India, especially the engineers who have made it so big in this country, and they are already giving back to this country as well as back in India. So I'm very excited about that, and excited about emceeing this event as well. Have little jitters, I've never emceed, but very excited to be part of this association.
I'm sure we all are excited to have a wonderful time at the gala. Best wishes as the board of director, and best wishes for the upcoming events of the association as well. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I have here another wonderful human being, a wonderful community supporter and community leader, Mr. Kirti Ravuri with me. Kirti ji, it's great to have you here at this inauguration gala. What do you have to say about this wonderful initiative by these wonderful engineers of the Indian origin? What is your take on it?
Absolutely, Prachi. Good to see you again, Prachi. Let me first commend the organization, the leadership, the top leadership who have conceived this organization under engineers. I know we have doctors group, we have socialist group, we have so many political groups, cultural groups, but I think it was time for an engineers group to be formulated so that the engineers group are truly a powerful group. It's actually, Prachi, to say that engineers are truly the engines of economy in the American economic landscape. And as such, I commend the band of leaders of engineers who have come together under one table and form this outstanding organization. I wish them all the good luck and all the good things to happen. I'm sure they'll cross many milestones moving forward with their agenda, with their initiatives and their program priorities. That being said, I once again congratulate the leadership team of the engineers group here. And the gala looks outstanding, truly wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. The gala looks great, and we look forward to more and more events. Thank you, Kirti ji, for talking to us. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. All right, I am here with Mr. Puneet Kapoor. He is from the Kapoor Group with Keller Williams, and he is one of the sponsors of this gala. Puneet, first of all, thank you very much for your support for the initiative like that. I'm sure it is going to help many people who could benefit from an idea like this. Please tell us what you look forward to as a sponsor and a supporter from an initiative like this, and what is your message out there?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. I think this organization is a great way to get all the great minds together in this field of IT, engineering, which happens to be the underpinning of the modern day civilization, right? Anything and everything we do today has some engineering behind it. So to be a part of that, to support them in every which way we can, helps every entrepreneur, helps every business. And given the fact that we're in the business of selling real estate, whether it's residential or commercial, anything and everything we do is dependent on technology. So what better way to support them than to be part of an organization that brings them together, brainstorms, comes up with better ways of doing things and improving our lives all together. So a wonderful way to do this.
Yes, as Puneet rightly said, engineers and engineering is the crux of any economy, and irrespective of what industry you are in, they play a vital role, and it's high time that we support the engineers, especially of the Indian origin, because there have not been any solid platform to support the engineers with Indian origin, and there are people out there like you who are there to show their support, and I'm sure events like this are not possible from sponsors and supporters. Thank you very much for being one of the patrons, and we look forward to the collaboration with you again.
Absolutely. Go engineers.
Go engineers. Thank you, Puneet. Thank you so much. This gentleman right next to me does not need any introduction. I have here with me Mr. Sunil Shah, the founder president of FIA, the community organization that is out there for the community 24/7. And he is here again, present at this gala as well to show his support for this wonderful initiative. Sunilji, thank you very much again for supporting another initiative from one of our community members. And this association for the engineers of Indian origin, what do you have to say? And what is your one message to people out there?
Like in Chicago, we have several associations, but I think what was missing was engineering association. And engineers, as we know, they are very creative. They are team members, and so it's such a great that we have a new association. It's a great concept. I would like to compliment and congratulate Gladstone Verghese and the entire team for starting this association of engineers, American Association of Engineers of Indian origin. So, and as you know, our Indians are brilliant, are smart, and something done for engineers under one roof, bringing them together would be a great thing.
Yes, as you all heard, it is an umbrella association for all the engineers of the Indian origin, and we have support from all our community leaders, like the one we have right next to us, Mr. Sunil Shah. Sunilji, thank you very much for your support to today's initiative and the gala, and we look forward to having you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prachi. Always. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. The gentleman right next to me, of course, needs no introduction, Mr. Neil Khote, CEO of Rely Services. He is also one of the board of directors of the association today that we are celebrating the gala. And he is also the past president of FIA. Neil, thank you very much for speaking with us. Of course, you are one of the board of directors, and you are bringing a lot of experience on board as a director as well. What is your take, and then what is your input and your vision for this initiative by all this wonderful group of people?
No, thank you, Prachi, and again, nice to see you on a different platform. This association has been a great association of engineers of Indian origin. Gladstone Verghese, who is the founding chairman and the president of this association, did a fantastic job. I mean, Indians are there in a lot of different fields, but being specifically recognized as engineers who are a lot in this country. I mean, the bigger corporations like Microsoft, Google are all made from engineers, but engineers don't have a recognition like AAEIO, which is a national association. So this is a great foundation for engineers to be recognized, gives us motivation to do programs related to the engineers, which is the next generation coming into the country can also step on this platform to climb up the ladders.
So as he very wonderfully put that this is going to be an opportunity for not just the ones that are here established, but also for the engineers who are going to be starting their career afresh here. And so far there have been associations for different fields, but this is a new initiative that is going to be the voice of all the engineers here who are of Indian origin. Neil, thank you very much for speaking with us, and we hope you enjoy the gala.
No, this is a fantastic gala. Everybody should be here, and I see a lot of attendance already happening here. So I think nobody should be missing this.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you. One of the board of directors, again, Burgesh brings tons of experience on board, and he is one of the assets to the entire board of AAEIO. Burgesh, thank you very much for talking to us. I just wanted to ask you one question is, I know there are people out there who are looking for associations like this. Like, what is it, what is the advantage, or what is the one thing that they are looking forward to when it comes to joining association like AAEIO?
Thank you so much for having me, Prachi. The main advantage for young engineers to join this group, of course, there are a lot of advantages. The most important thing is networking with fellow engineers, fellow entrepreneurs. There are very successful people who are in the board as well as in the members. This will give them an opportunity to understand what is required to come up in their life, how to achieve their ambitions and goals. Another aspect is that if somebody was planning to come to US to do their masters, and if they want to have some ideas about future jobs or immigration related issues, or are connecting with a specific individual in a big organization, this is going to be a platform for a lot of young engineers to actually get a new opportunity or a career growth. So that is the primary interest of developing something like this for our people. So this is not going to be just a one-off event. This is going to be a regular event, and a lot of members should participate. And we are planning to open, branches or a franchise in other cities. So a lot of members can take initiative, and they can reach out to the board if you want to start a franchise in your city. And that's pretty much the important advantage of being a member of this organization.
So as you guys heard, that there is going to be a lot of outreach, because this association is not confined to only this location geographically. It is going to be providing support all over the nation, and not just to the established engineers, but the engineers who are fresh and the young graduates who are looking for directions for their career as well. And wonderful people like Murugesh and then the associations like that are going to be providing the help and opportunities needed for people like that. Murugesh, thank you very much. Best wishes for a successful association.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much for the coverage.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, I have here Mr. Devajit with me, and he is one of the supporters of today's gala. Devajit, please give us your views about the association and then your support for this initiative today.
Absolutely. So I got introduced to this right about 2-3 weeks back by Nitin Maheshwari, who is your VP. Nitin and I go back long time. He was 1 year junior to me in IIT Kanpur, so that's the connection. I think it's fabulous. So I have had the opportunity over my lifetime career to create different types of alumni organizations, participate in them, affinity organizations in places like GE, United Technologies, and so on. So I think Chicago for the longest time was, at least to get started in Chicago, right? And from what I understand, it'll be a global forum. But Chicago, there was clearly an opportunity for a forum like this for Indian engineers to come together. The fun part that I like about this, especially in comparison to some of the other forums that I have participated in, is it's not just for IITians, right? So even though you'll probably find a critical mass of IIT people here from engineering background, but that's open. The other part that I observed is it's also open, very much open to the business community, right? So you're connecting to the local large businesses who certainly can support and can benefit from what engineers do, right? Engineers and a lot of the engineers who have evolved into business roles.
As Devajit very well mentioned, that this was the need of the hour, and this initiative was much awaited, and it's wonderful that we have something like this, and we are looking for providing more and more support to the fellow engineers from of Indian origin. And of course there are people and supporters like you who are out there to make it a success. Thank you very much for attending the gala, and thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Let me get the board members on the stage. Mr. Sanjeev Singh, Mr. Murugesh Kastigam, Mr. Vinod Chanamulu, Mr. Brij Sharma, Mr. Ganesh Kar, Mr. Neil Khoth, Mr. Nag Jaiswal, Dr. Gautam Grover, Mr. Rajinder Bir Singh Mago, and Ms. Madhura Sami. As we have the entire board on the stage, I would like to take this moment and invite the dignitaries and elected officials on the stage for the traditional lamp lighting. Consulate General of India, Honorable Amit Kumar Ji, can you please come on the stage? I request Abhishek to give him a bouquet. Congressman Honorable Sean Caston.
No good. Please, can you come center?
Associate Dean Kellogg's, Dr. Mohan Veer Sawhney, the State Senator Honorable Laura Murphy,
Excuse me, please.
State Representative Honorable Michelle Musman, Mayor of Lincolnwood, Mr. Jason Patel, City of Aurora Alderwoman, Ms. Shweta Bed, Trustee of Oakbrook, Dr. Suresh Reddy, Trustee of Hanover Park, Mr. Syed Hussaini, Trustee of Lincolnwood, Mr. Mohammad Salim, and Cook County Commissioner, Mr. Kevin Morrison.
Are you going to do the lamp lighting?
Now we will light the lamp and inaugurate the AAEIO officially. The Executive Board and the elected officials to stay on the stage, please. Thank you. We'll be honoring 3 outstanding individuals who are successful in their businesses, who started from zero all the way to have a multi-million-dollar businesses and supporting the communities, and are the biggest contributors and supporters of AAEIO. Dr. Deepak Kant Vyas. Deepak Kant Vyas is the founder and chairman of Red Berry Corporation, joint venture with Brunswick Corporation. Medicality, Red Berry Innovation Center, Earth Foundation. Business View magazine recently named Deepak Vyas as the Entrepreneur of the Year 2020. Industry Era magazine named Mr. Vyas as the top 10 CEO. CIO Bulletin named Red Berry 30 most influential companies in the world. Silicon India magazine named 2021 Red Berry top 20 technology companies started and managed by Indians in USA. State of Madhya Pradesh, India, conferred highest civilian honor, Pravasi Bharatiya Samman, at special state ceremony in 2010. He also serves as advisor to the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh since 2010. Please help me welcome Dr. Deepak Kant Vyas. Mr. Singh received a degree in civil engineering from Punjab University, while at Chicago-based construction company for 11 years. Mr. Singh recognized his own potential to operate a business. In 1998, Mr. Singh combined his talent and experience and formed Pan-Oceanic Engineering, a general contractor and engineering firm that specialized in civil infrastructure work, underground site utilities, and road construction. Pan-Oceanic was built from scratch, dedication to hard work, and on the single vision. In 23 years, under Mr. Singh's leadership and guidance, Pan-Oceanic has evolved into a complex, multi-million-dollar construction enterprise. Today, Pan-Oceanic is recognized as a leader in the industry and Indian community. Gulzar Singh has been Board of Director for Underground Contractors Association of Illinois for over 8 years and now serving as Vice President of the Executive Board. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gulzar Singh. respect for this gentleman. Electrical engineer from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, June 1969. Worked for Siemens in upper management in Germany and Brazil. Founder president of Power Volt group of companies with operations in USA, Mexico, and China. Power Volt Group is among the top 10 of electrical control transformers in the USA. In 2019, named as Jewel of Punjab. Past chairman of UPA, United Punjabis of America, current chairman of Hari Om Mandir, and an active community leader and a philanthropist. Mr. Brij Sharma. He is also working as a president of US Tektronix. He got his master's in mechanical engineering and MBA in operation management from Purdue University. He has been very active in community activities. He is the current chairman of Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, Chicago chapter, and past president of Malayali Engineering Association, I guess, in North America. Governor of Illinois, Pat Quinn, appointed him to Structural Engineering Board of Illinois in 2013. Now he's serving his 8th year in Structural Engineering Board of Illinois. Please help me welcome AAEIO President, Mr. Gladson Varghese.
Honorable Consul General of India, Mr. Amit Kumar, Honorable Congressman Mr. Sean Gaston, Honorable Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy is going to be here at 8 o'clock. He's going to inaugurate another event they are hosting today, which is Incubated Program. He's going to be here at 8 o'clock. Assistant Dean of Digital Innovation, Fellow School of Management, Dr. Mohan Swani, Deputy Majority Leader of Illinois, Senator Laura Murphy, and other elected officials, CEO of various companies, company executives, AAEIO board, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming today. I'm so excited to be here today because it's a dream come true for me about this event. I've been thinking about forming an engineering organization, which is a number of organizations, bringing all the engineers in North America together. That's what we're launching it today. I want to thank each one of you for coming today. And also I want to talk about the vision, mission, and the 4 pillars of this organization. Because everybody asks me, what do you guys do? What are you different? Before I take membership, I want to know about that. But our Vice President, Nitin, is very passionate about that. So he's going to talk about that. So I'm not going to get into all the details, but I want to talk about my vision and for the next 1 year. So before I do that, I wanted to thank a couple of people because when we do the vote of thanks, they won't be here. First, I want to thank, when I selected the guest, you have several congressmen, including Brad Snyder. He's a dear friend. I did the fundraising for him in my home, but I didn't invite him. But I invited Dr. Raja, which is a mechanical engineer from Princeton and Harvard Law. And also Sean Gaston, he is an engineer, he's a biochemical engineer, and he was a scientist as well. So I want to thank him for coming, and he was the president and CEO of TurboStream Corporation, which converted emission from power plants into energy. And what I like about him is his committee. His committee is in the US Congress for Science, Space and Technology. So there is a lot of chemistry. Maybe there is a synergy between us and you. Maybe I need your help. We'll have a separate talk on it. See what AAEIO can help with the federal government. So I need your help on that. And also we are very glad to see Dr. Mohan Swani here. All the IIT graduates, several IIT graduates in our board, and several of them are here in the midst. They are all happy, and also all the Kellogg graduates. He's a great speaker, and so we're excited to have him here, and I want him to be an advisor to our board. So I want to talk to him about that later on. And also on Amit Kumar ji is a big supporter from the day one. So when I usually text him back and forth. So when we started this organization, I texted him about this organization. He texted about great initiative. So then he invited all the board members to consulate and have them strong at various discussions. So we need his help in the future as well. So thank you, Dr. Honorable Amit Kumar ji, for coming today, and also Deputy Majority Leader of Illinois House, dear friend Senator Laura Murphy is here. She's so down to earth. She's a very powerful lady in the Illinois Senate, but I'm so glad she's here. She's the chair of Commerce and Higher Education. So we need to talk about higher education. Maybe we can do something about higher education with this organization. And with that note, I want to invite all the elected officials also. So my vision, if you ask a CEO of any company, what will be the number one priority, or what will be the number one goal? It will be, excuse me, a lot of noise. I think we have to close the bar and also food. You have to close the bar. A lot of noise. Can you please take a seat? This is disrespect to others who are speaking. Why don't you take a seat? Please take a seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gladson Verghese, President of AAEIO, is giving the presidential address. Can we please take a seat and listen to him? Thank you.
Mitch and Ravi, can you please take a seat? So the CEO will say, I want to grow the organization. Same thing with me. And also, of course, they wanted to increase the EBIT, right? So then my goal is to grow this organization throughout the United States. For the next 10 years, I wanted to have 100,000 members. That's my goal. So please, I want each one of your help, and already a lot of people volunteered to have an event in Dallas, another location, Boston, New York, Atlanta. A lot of people are volunteered already. So we're going to do that. Second is we're going to launch an incubator program today for businesses. Including me, I launched a couple of businesses. Sometimes you go, really up sometimes. Why? Because either you don't have the proper vision, or you don't have the networking, or you don't have the money, or you don't have a proper strategic plan, or you don't have a mentoring system. So if you don't have that, you might fall apart. So we want to do a mentor all the startup companies. Dr. Vyas, dear friend, he's going to talk about, so I don't want to steal his thunder, so he's going to talk about that event. And also we're going to connect T-Hub from India. So they're going to talk about how it's going to work. T-Hub is the largest incubator company in India. So they're going to help us to launch this project as well. And there are a lot of people asking me when I saw outside, how did you form this organization? It's all started. So it's all started because somebody from San Francisco contacted me and said, Gladson, why don't you start an Indian Engineering Association for our chapter in Chicago? So I talked to several of my friends, including Ajit Pant. So Ajit said, why don't you come to my office, let's talk about it. So we made a list of engineers who can help us, including board of directors. That's how we formed this organization. When we started this organization, even some of the board members didn't thought it's going to take off. They didn't attend the meeting. They they were elected to attend meeting. After all this social media, all the newspaper, a lot of people started calling me, I want to be at the board. I'm from IIT Madras. I'm from IIT Bombay. I wrote 5 books. So I want everybody to take a life membership. Then we will, of course, we will consider them to the board. Please do that. And because of the time crunch, I'm going to go fast. I want to thank some of the board members. I want to thank all the executive board. Of course, Ajit, Nitin, and Abhishek, those stand firm with me. I want to thank them. And also, gentleman who gave me more energy than anybody else is Gulsar Singh. He's here today. We have awarded him. So he said, let's do that. This is it's a great thing. I will help you whatever I can. Bring the members. If you want finance, we'll make sure you have enough finance. That gives you more energy to go forward. I want to thank Mr. Gulsar Singh. And also I want to thank my dear friend Dr. Vyas. We talk, we know for a long time, and we least talk once a month. Now we pretty much talk every day, maybe more than one time a day. So he's helping us in different ways, including launching this incubator program. We are planning to bring all the startup companies to Chicago and doing a summit for this launch. So then I want to thank Mr. Golden Patel. We were not very, I met him a few times in different meetings, but we were not, don't know much before. But when I called him, he said, let's do it, Gladson, let's do it. I said, let's make AAEIO a board member. And he's a big supporter, a big help. I want to really thank him for all his support. He's a large circuit board manufacturer, and also he got an own pharmaceutical company. I want to thank him for that. And Vivek Sharma and Sanjeev Ji, they were not attending all the board meetings, but they were a firm support. Sanjeev, especially in the last, when this was happening, he was a big supporter. So does Vivek Sharma. We were together in several boards before, and I want to thank Vivek for all your help and support. And I want to thank Rajendra and Nat Jaiswal. They know how to run the organization. They know how to bring people. They know how to raise the fund. I want to thank both of them. And so glad they have support. Lot of advices. I want to thank Mr. Vijay for all his support. And Anaya Vataya. So thank you, Mr. Anaya. He's trying to bring a lot of IIT folks. He's from IIT Bombay to this organization. I don't know how successful he was. Maybe next time we'll work together. Thank you. Thank you for all the help. And also I'm going to sponsor the major sponsors. SBI, State Bank of India, and my friends Ravi and Mitch is here from Showfest. And Kapoor Group, thank you all. And all the sponsors, several of them are here. I want to thank you all. Looking forward to seeing you all in the next event. Please, don't forget to take a membership before you leave. If you're an engineer, a great engineer, please take at least a 1-year membership. Take it before you leave. Our goal is to be or better than API. Dr. Suresh Reddy is here, API President. So that's the goal. Again, thank you all for coming. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Mr. Gladson Verghese. He's been working tirelessly to get this evening as a perfect place, and I can already see everybody enjoying and this inaugural meeting starting with a blast. Next, I would like to invite the next pillar of the organization, Nitin Maheshwari, to talk about the vision and the 4 pillars of AAEIO. Nitin is a founder and managing director of Mark Insights, an AI-based management consulting firm that he formed last year. He's a mechanical engineer from IIT Kanpur and also has an MBA from Kellogg School of Management. Nitin has advised and helped several corporates on how to maximize value through operations excellence and use of technology. He is a thought leader in digital transformation and an active member of several associations such as Chicago-based 1871 and Pan IIT Group. Nitin has been tirelessly working on presentations, on PowerPoints, and getting AAEIO to where it is today. Please help me welcome Nitin Maheshwari to talk about the vision and the 4 pillars of AAEIO.
Thank you, Madhura. Distinguished guests, scholars, academicians, and my fellow engineers, aren't you glad after 18 months of pandemic that we are all together in one place under one room, and thank God it's not a Zoom. But while we are celebrating here, I would like to recognize the endless loss of life and wealth and a lot of inspiration that a lot of people have had in the last 18 months. So please take a moment about that. Unprecedented changes have come. Why? Because of the global pandemic. While we are here in this room, there are lots of people not able to feed their families. And the world order is changing. As we are speaking over here, you can realize there is a climate change causing floods in one part of the world, and a pandemic could also be a part of that, and fire in the western part of US itself. This world needs a change which we all believe that every engineer in this room can bring to this. And that's our vision to forming AAEIO. Now you would say, there are many organizations out there. Why are we different? Gladstone, I, along with a lot of other people, thought a lot about it. Like, how do we be different? And we came up with 3 words, which is engage, educate, innovate. And what do we mean by engage? It's uniting everybody, all the people like you, together to come to a mission, to come to work for a problem. And engagement is just not just engineers working in one cubicle and in their office, but it is connecting that engineer in the cubicle to the corporates of the America and also India and globally, and also connecting startups which are trying to make a difference but not yet able to scale off because of a lot of things that they have to do. So AAI's mission, as you see on the left over here, is first to engage this community, and we are fortunate to have some programming that we'll be announcing today with all the dignitaries here that have existed. Second is education. Education is so important, and I'm fortunate to have Dr. Mohan Miswani here, a cutting-edge person who knows digital to the extent that nobody can think about. And it's been an honor, sir, for you to be here and talking about what are the opportunities and trends going forward. So those are things that we want to bring to our AAEIO community. And with that, I would request, as Gladstone requested, please become a member of the organization, and not just a member for the sake of being a member. Be a member which is going to be active and will contribute, because this world needs the change. We might have another global pandemic, we might have something else, and we think that we can do it together if we are together in this mission. I know it's been very late for a lot of things which are going on, but I would like to seek your support on behalf of the AAEIO board, and would like to say thank you to everybody who has made it here, including the elected officials, including academicians, including all the people who have come here to make a difference. Let's work together. Let's take AAEIO to all parts of the world, not just Chicago. Thank you.
To invite Honorable Councillor General Amit Kumar Ji for his speech. Dr. Ajit Pant is the alumni of Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Roorkee in India. Has an MBA in Business Management and Finance from FMS, Delhi University, and was awarded a Doctor of Science degree from Plekhanov Academy of Economics, Moscow, Russia. He has extensive business experience in USA, Russia, Singapore, and several other countries. He is widely traveled, having visited nearly 70 countries of the world. I would really request all of you to please take a seat, which would be a sign of showing respect for somebody who is going to come on the stage and talk about this organization, promote it, and educate all of us how to help AAEIO. So I'll kindly request all of you, if you're standing, to be quiet and listening to the program that's going on. I'll be very thankful if you do that. Mr. Ajit Pant.
Thank you, Madhura. Please extend a round of applause for our MC this evening, Madhura Sane. She's been doing a wonderful job. Good evening, friends, down at the bar. Can I have your attention? Please. Thank you. It is my distinct honor and a special privilege today to introduce our honored guest. He is none other than the Consul General of India, Mr. Amit Kumar. I am sure that most of us in this room are already familiar with him. But nevertheless, for those that may not have known him, I will do a brief introduction about him. Mr. Amit Kumar is a career diplomat and joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1995. He has a wide-ranging experience, having served in headquarters in several Indian missions abroad. He has dealt with both bilateral and multilateral work in diverse areas such as political, strategic, and economic spheres. Prior to taking up his current assignment as the Consul General of India in Chicago, he was the Deputy Chief of Mission in the Embassy of India, Washington, D.C., with ambassador rank. His recent assignments included stints as Joint Secretary for Development Partnership Administration and as Joint Secretary for Human Resource Management in the Ministry of External Affairs, New Delhi. He's been the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy in Tokyo. He was previously served as Under Secretary in China and Director in the Foreign Secretary's Office in New Delhi. His overseas assignments include stints in a number of capitals, such as Third Secretary in the Embassy of India in Beijing, First Secretary dealing with political work with the Embassy of India in Berlin, First Secretary Counselor dealing with political information, cultural and education work at the Embassy of India at Ankara, Turkey. Counselor and Head of Economic and Commercial Wing at the Embassy of India, Beijing, and Counselor Minister dealing with Third Committee and UN Security Matters in the Permanent Mission of India at the United Nations in New York. Ambassador Kumar holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from GESPER, IIT Kanpur. So, as a fellow IITian, I would like to welcome him. I would also like to mention on a personal note that he's married to Mrs. Surabhi Kumar, and on a personal level, I think I have yet to meet a more gentle soul, and as you can see, he is a young, handsome diplomat even now. He's very popular with the Indian community, and we have seen him in many, many occasions active in the community work. Besides his polished and suave demeanor, he is also quite articulate, and as you will see soon. And I know from personal experience that he's fond of poetry and theatre. Besides this, he is an avid photographer and a nature lover. So with that, sir, I'd like to invite you to the stage and give us an idea of your thoughts about us and
the guidance that we have received from you.
Thank you, Ajit for that kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, representative custom, elected officials. When I landed in Chicago 18 months ago, I met a lot of individuals and associations in a very short span. In part, a process which was fast-tracked due to COVID-19 using the virtual format. I also met representatives of several professional bodies which represented doctors and healthcare professionals, hotel owners, store owners, real estate, lawyers, even pharmacy business. I was, however, struck by the fact that there was no professional organization representing engineers, despite the fact that a sizable proportion of the Indian diaspora comprises engineers, despite the fact that overall perceptions about Indians in this country has been largely shaped by the general proficiency in STEM areas, by engineers who have done well, people who have done well in engineering fields, in technology areas and so on. And I found this a little anomalous. So I'm really, really happy to note that we have a new organization which represents engineers, the American Association of Engineers of Indian Origin. I'll share a couple of thoughts about engineers, and I think that may give a clue as to why it took so long to form such an association. I think engineers are inherently a very flexible lot. They are not wedded to their disciplines. And I think with due apologies to doctors who are like beholden to the human body or parts of it, engineers do not mind at all not working in engineering disciplines. And if you look at the Chicago landscape, you will find that we have engineers running IT and technology firms, not surprising, but also very successfully working in banks or financial sector, creating startups, running construction companies, running healthcare business, work, we live, travel, communicate, entertain ourselves. I notice some spouses are shaking their heads, so at least we feel that we are problem solvers. I have the opportunity to interact with board members of AAEIO, and I was very encouraged by their enthusiasm and by the mission that they have set out for themselves to collaborate on technology and innovation and to leverage the group's experience, knowledge for the benefit of their members as well as to benefit this country, their home country, United States and India. And I believe that with your current diverse backgrounds and problem-solving skills, and in the backdrop of rapidly changing technological advancements cutting across several engineering disciplines, this group would be ideal platform for professional networking. You are also in a wonderful position to provide mentorship and guidance to students who aspire to pursue engineering streams or to existing engineering students in colleges both here and in India. One important area where I think the group can make a meaningful contribution is education. Many of you are in the academics area, and one challenge that we face back in India is scaling up quality of engineering instruction in India. We have some very fine engineering institutions, but I think there are many more colleges that need support. We need to give them new models for engineering pedagogy, if I may use that term. and perhaps use some sort of digital tools to help support the faculty. I also noticed that the group has this ambition of providing scholarships to students who are needy, and this would be, of course, a worthwhile proposal to follow up. I see many meaningful possibilities of cooperation with you all in areas such as startups, entrepreneurship, and so on. I would be remiss if I do not talk about the successful visit of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to the US. He left for India yesterday after a short but hectic 2.5 days in the US. The Prime Minister met President Biden for delegation level talks, met Vice President Kamala Harris. He met a few CEOs of global companies. He addressed the UN General Assembly. He had several talks with Prime Ministers of Japan and Australia and attended the first in-person Port Summit hosted by President Biden. President Biden and PM Modi have agreed to further enrich and strengthen the comprehensive strategic partnership that our two countries are pursuing. They have discussed ways to bolster trade and investment ties, strengthen defense and security relationship, boost strategic clean energy partnership, explore new avenues and technologies through R&D, innovation and industry linkages. They also discussed current regional situation, including in Afghanistan, in the Indo-Pacific, combating cross-border terrorism, dismantling terrorist networks, UN reforms and so on. As I mentioned, Prime Minister also joined the Port Summit, and the port countries, Australia, Japan, India and the United States have made considerable progress in some of the new priority areas that they had identified on COVID-19 pandemic and health cooperation, climate change, new and emerging technologies. Allow me to spell out a few specific outcomes and areas that you all have identified as priority areas in the vision statement, namely health, artificial intelligence, energy, climate change, and so on.
You think about what's possible. And those are different questions. In theory, as engineers, we want to sort of make sure that we are never constrained in our thinking, but we've all been in meetings where we said, boss, this is what I want to do, and your boss says, it sounds like a great idea. Has anybody done it before? Right? And yet, if you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to have the hubris to believe that you are so smart that you thought of something nobody did before and you're going to make it possible. There's a hubris there. There's a tremendous danger. You know, what are the statistics? 90% of startups fail. I think a good part of the reason a lot of those startups fail is because they weren't founded by engineers and they decided to do something because that hubris will convince you that you can break the laws of thermodynamics. Goodness knows we've all sat in meetings with somebody who wanted to do that, right? There's a certain blood testing company in the news right now that may have tried to do that. But there is also stapled to that a request for leadership. And what I've found as I've moved into this political life is how many times have you heard an elected official say, I would love to help you out, but the public will just isn't there? To which I ask them, when you ran for office, did you say you were incapable of leading, or did you decide that after you got elected? Who inspires us in elected office? It's not the people who follow public opinion, it's the people who shape public opinion. And there's a certain sort of beauty and a nobility in doing that. And as grateful as I am for all the smart, talented people in this community working as engineers, working as entrepreneurs, I would encourage you to participate, even at the level of running for office, in our political process as well. Because there are things that you would never accept in your office as an engineer, as an entrepreneur, which we praise people for in politics. If someone came into your office and said, I'm going to spend the next 30 years debating whether or not CO2 warms the atmosphere, you would fire that person pretty quickly. And yet we tolerate that in Washington. If someone came into your office and said, you know, there's these little tiny virus particles that you can stop if you wear a mask, but I'm going to tell you to take horse medicine instead. We wouldn't tolerate that, right? So we should debate laws, but you know the old Clash song, I fought the law and the law won? Sometimes you can win fighting the laws of the United States, but the laws of physics always win. And we need people in professional life who understand that at a bare minimum, you have to be constrained by the laws of physics and then go from there to make manifest what is possible. And we need more people involved in public life, again, whether or not you run, but to hold those of us in elected office subject to the same standard that you hold yourself. I was talking to some students recently who asked me what I had done recently that was bipartisan. These were high school students. And I said, if you did a group paper and you got a D on your paper, and you said to your parents, good news, I did this paper with 2 nerds and 2 jocks. Would your parents be happy about that? Judge people by what they do, not who they did it with. We know that as engineers, we know that as entrepreneurs. Hold us to that standard. I was down just before John Lewis died. I went down to Selma and got to walk across the bridge with him one last time and met just so many amazing people down there. But John Meacham, who's the author who you may have seen on television, had this wonderful distillation of what it means to be an American. And he said, we were founded by slaveholders who wrote a document that said it was a self-evident truth that everybody was created equal. And the beauty of America and that the inspiration we take from our founders is not that they were perfect, but they were capable of envisioning a world that lived up to a standard that they themselves could not reach. And I tell that story because that is the essence of leadership. It's the essence of being an entrepreneur, and it's the thread that connects George Washington to Mahatma Gandhi to Steve Jobs. People who saw something and made it possible. And in the words of Condoleezza Rice, one of my favorite observations, which is about politics, but it's about all of us as Americans, is that our job in this life is to make the impossible inevitable. And I thank you for all that you do in that regard, and it's an honor to be here. Gladson, thank you. Consul General Kumar, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to see you, and be well. Thank you.
Congressman Sean Casten, for such an encouraging, empowering speech. I'd like to invite a very, very humble person, one of our life members and board of directors, Rajinder Bir Singh Magoji, to invite Dr. Mohan Bir Singh Sahni to talk about opportunities and trends in the post-digital world, the keynote speech. Mr. Magoji.
Thank you, Madhuraji. I'd like to invite Dr. Professor Mohan Bir Singh Sahni on this stage. Come out, please. It's about 20 years ago, nearly 2001, from Punjabi Cultural Society of Chicago, we wanted to honor the high school students, graduates, and we wanted to give them a graduation party, and we held it on Diwan Avenue at Sher Punjab. Venue, if you remember, used to be there, is not there anymore. And we were thinking, who do we get as the chief guest or the keynote speaker who would be a role model and who would be like inspiration to our young children? And somebody suggested, oh, there is a Sardarji, he's a professor at Northwestern, do you know him? I said, I really don't know him, but we can approach him. We approached Dr. Sahni, and he was there, and we had a wonderful time, and he was such an inspiring person at that event 20 years ago, and he has attended so many of them after that event. And at that time, he had his first 2 books out that he autographed and gave it to me, and I have them at home. I was going to bring them with me to show, but they're too heavy to carry around, so I wasn't able to bring it. But anyway, Dr. Mohanbir Singh Sani is Associate Dean of Innovation and Professor of Technology at the Kellogg School of Management, Northwestern University, and he's responsible for digital transformation of the business school. He also serves as the director of the Center of Research and Technology and Innovation, which partners with leading corporate innovators to advance the thinking and practice in business innovation. These are all big words for me. Dr. Sani got his B.Tech in electrical and electronics engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi in India. MBA in marketing and finance from Indian Institute of Management in Calcutta, India, where he was a gold, I could say hats, but I would say he wears many turbans. He's an ardent academic, sought after consultant, and a powerful speaker on the subjects of business innovation, modern marketing, artificial intelligence applications, and product management. And he has authored 7 books. He himself is an innovator in executive teaching and capability development, and has taught worldwide as a visiting professor in Israel, in Hong Kong, in Germany, in Italy, and in India, and God knows which other countries. He's on the board of several corporations, for example, Reliance Jio Infocom. He's on the advisory board, member of Chicago Innovation and Technology startup companies in India, US, and Israel. But above all, he's a proud father of 2 wildcats at Northwestern University. His wife, Shalini, thank you, Shalini, for being here, and he both love to travel and cook picture-perfect, fancy, mouth-watering gourmet meals, and I can say that because I've seen the pictures on the Facebook. So, after his talk tonight, I'm sure in the audience, a lot of you would have some questions. So we have some index cards sitting around. There will be some volunteers bringing them over to you. If you have any questions, you please write those questions on those index cards, and then volunteers will turn those over to us, and hopefully Dr. Sani will answer them. So without any further ado, I'd like to present to you Dr. Mohanbir Singh Sani, and he's going to enlighten us with the topic of opportunities and trends in the post-digital world. Thank you so much. Welcome, Dr. Sani.
Thank you, Magoji. I thought that the introduction was enough. And keynote the keyload, you know. We're done here. So one thing, if you were listening very carefully to my introduction, is that I have never worked one day as an engineer. So I'm an imposter, you know. But I teach marketing. That's what my PhD is in. So I was thinking about your association. You should not limit your ambition to America. It should be worldwide. So let's call this Associations of Engineers of Indian Origin United, AAEIO. Sare vowel ho gaye. And then you can say, we are 5 vowels where we make the language work. You know, that's the value proposition. So anyway, that's what I do for a living. But so what I thought I would do today is reflect on, you know, we're going through a very historic year for India. This is our 75th year of independence. Right? This is the 75th year. So I think it is what I'll try to do in the next 15 minutes And there's, I know there's a very interesting conversation going on in the corner. I'm so curious. Unko bula lo yahan pe. I think that is more interesting than what I have to say to you. But anyway. So if I can request my brothers at the back, grab your glasses, please sit down. I promise you 15 minutes, that's all I ask. I can say that because I do that to my students. If my students disrespect me like this, I kick them out of the classroom. It's very simple, right? So please, I only ask for 15 minutes. I know 18 months we've been on Zoom, so it's nice to see people and talk with them, but thoda sun bhi lo. So, 75 years. I thought I'd look back 75 years and look forward 25 years, which is not an easy exercise, but I think it is useful to see where we've come from and where we are going to, and what are the opportunities. I promise you at the end, I'm going to ask, what's in it for me? So what, right? I believe every speech should have 3 components: what, so what, and now what. So it's not just enough to know what, you have to walk away with what does this mean for me, what are the opportunities at a personal level, at a professional level. So if we go back to the history of India and technology, it started in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, when I was in engineering school. At that time, entrepreneurship, the word didn't exist. When we were in engineering school, that was 40 years ago, the concept of entrepreneurship did not exist. You worked for the government or you worked for a MNC. That was all you could do, or you came to the US like I did. But it was some really enterprising people, the founders of Infosys, the founders of TCS, who got together. And by the way, there was no venture capital, there was no risk capital. And if you failed, then you would be, for a lifetime, you would be a black sheep. So there was no appetite for risk. This is a philosophical observation I'm going to make. We grew up in scarcity. And therefore, for us, job security was the #1 thing. That's what our parents told us. Job security, because we grew up in an economy of shortages. We grew up at a time, so as my father would tell me, when they had even seen worse times than us, they said, "Garibi hamari haddiyon mein hai." That poverty is in our bones. This was a very conservative attitude. There was never this idea of taking risk. Today, my children have the luxury of taking risks because there's a blanket, a security blanket. I love to tell my kids that socialism is wonderful on your dad's salary, right? So they're like, but Bernie wants to make education free. I said, yes, I will pay for your education and your friend's education. Thank you very much. Anyway, I love Bernie, but never. So you have the luxury, and I'm seeing that sea change in India. I go meet IIT graduates today. I meet engineers. There is no fear. There is no fear. There are 25. I met this guy who founded a company called DocSap. It basically is an AI-based tool that does teleconsultations. He's 25 years old. I said, what do you know about healthcare? He said, nothing. I said, how old are you? He says, 25. I said, sharam nahi aati tere ko? You have no shame that you founded this company, raised several hundred millions of dollars of capital, and he is doing 150,000 consultations a month and democratizing access to physicians in India, because 90% of people who need access to specialist physicians are outside the top 10 cities, and 90% of the physicians who are specialized are in the top 10 cities. So he's making a marketplace. So that was something people like us would never have even imagined. That was the first generation. India created leading companies in IT services. We sent our bodies here. We sent our brains here. So it was called body shopping. Those were the days of the IT services company. Today, that business is $180 billion in revenues, $1 trillion in market cap. So that is a phenomenal achievement. And indications are that by 2025, it's going to hit $300 billion in revenues. India is a powerhouse in IT services. But that was not the limit. That was just the first wave. And in fact, I remember speaking with Mr. Azim Premji about 15 years ago, and I said, Mr. Premji, you've done phenomenal stuff. Now, why don't you do products? Why don't you do products? You've done services. He said, listen, products require upfront investment. We didn't grow up with the DNA of taking that kind of risk. We want to do services where I do a work today and I get billed, I can build tomorrow. He said, if I'm growing at 40% a year and I have 50% margins, why would I invest in products? It's just not in our DNA. So that was my regret, that the Infosys and TCS and Wipros of the world didn't build products. They didn't build an SAP, they didn't build an Oracle, they didn't build a Microsoft. They stayed with services. And services don't scale. You cannot get beyond 40% margin, gross margin in services. You need products. The next wave that came in India was in 1996, I think the first company got started was Rediff.com, then you had Myntra, you had Flipkart, consumer e-commerce. Interesting thing about the first wave was that market was entirely the United States. The second wave of consumer e-commerce, the market was entirely India. Because India was, the consumer had woken up and e-commerce had started to boom. So you saw a plethora of these startup companies. So that's the second wave, which is still growing. Now it's getting more specialized. You have financial services companies, you have ed tech, you have fintech, you have insurtech, you have ag tech, you have all of these sectors. So these e-commerce companies now, from initially being broad platform companies like Flipkart and Amazon, are now getting more vertically specialized. That's the second wave, but that's also over now. That's over. I mean, not over as in it's plateaued and you'll still have those investments. But that e-commerce consumer is now moving along to a third wave. And that third wave, I think, is going to be potentially the most exciting. It is now B2B, and it is products, and it is deep tech. Deep tech is a buzzword, but what it basically means is exploiting the power of artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, all of the fundamental building blocks of technology, and using that to create lots of really interesting applications in a variety of industries. There are 2,000 deep tech startups in India. I spoke 2 years ago at the NASSCOM Product Forum. NASSCOM has traditionally represented services companies, but they now have a product forum where they're starting to get, there were 500 companies exhibiting products. And that is phenomenal because product companies, many of them will fail, but the ones that succeed, we will probably see the next Salesforce or Google come out of these companies. That is really the frontier. That is sort of what's happening next. So the next wave that we will continue to see is these deep tech companies. The other observation I want to make, I don't know how many of you realize this, how many of you know this. India has built public sector platforms in technology that no country in the world has. What the National Payment Corporation of India has done, building UPI, building the blockchain, Bharat blockchain, building the National Clearing House, where every invoice and every purchase order is in the cloud in India. It's phenomenal. We have a 9-digit social security number in this country. That's the best we can do. India has 2-factor biometrics for 1.1 billion people, with Nandan Nilekani leading that effort with the ID, Universal ID project. India has built a full India stack. India stack starts with biometrics, and then it goes to, it's basically cashless, consent-based, paperless infrastructure for conducting all transactions. UPI has made Visa and American Express, all the MasterCard, irrelevant. Payments are a commodity, 30 bips. So there is no need for expensive credit card companies. So the public infrastructure that has been built is now becoming the foundation for development in India for the next several years. The other thing that has happened in India is the the infrastructure for networks and wireless, which I've been proud to be a part of for the past 6 years, serving on the board of Reliance Jio. When we entered the market in India in September 2016, exactly 5 years ago, data was $20 to $40 a gigabyte. And the average data consumption was 0.2 gigabytes per month per subscriber. Today, the price of data in India is 5 cents per gigabyte. 5 cents. Remember, $20 to 5 cents. I can't even do the math. It's 1%. 1% of the price. We have 440 million subscribers at Jio. Every single subscriber consumes 13 gigabytes of data per month. We carry 10% of the world's mobile traffic, which is more than AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint, and everybody, T-Mobile, put together. And all this has opened up opportunities in villages. There was a very heartening experience we had in Chhattisgarh. There's a extremist movement there. There are Maoists, there are, communist movements. As connectivity has gone into these places, that terrorist activity, that extremist activity has come down. Because the one thing that you do, you all know this, that if you give education and now a 4G phone to a woman, the village is transformed. That is true. That is true. So at Jio, we went to these villages and talked to these ladies. And this woman, she says, I do weaving. And now I have this phone. And I learned on YouTube how to make the weaving products that will be sold in the US. Then I contacted Amazon. And they do logistics by Amazon. So they come and pick up my stuff. And I'm selling globally now. Out of her village, right? And she says, now I'm the boss of the house because I make 10 times, 100 times what my husband makes. That is empowerment. That is what is going on in this country. So I couldn't be more excited about, this public infrastructure combined with the network infrastructure that Jio and now its competitors have built really position India to become a powerhouse going into the future. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean? Connect to India. Connect as engineers, get connected. Both because there is a tremendous amount of opportunity. India is a huge market. It'll be a market for the world, but it'll also be a laboratory for the world. It'll be, so both as a source of your products and services, but also as a source of innovation that's coming into the US. I think that we will have our rightful place because I still believe, despite all the $180 billion of revenues, I think that if you build one Google, one Microsoft out of India with a $100 billion valuation, that will be the next generation. So we gotta go and look beyond, and the building blocks are there because the infrastructure is in place. We produce 20 to 25% of the world's engineering talent in India. Think about that. And so it is I think that as we approach our 75th year of independence, we really have to think about where we can take this in the future and how we can partner and build bridges between the United States, where we have such a rich diaspora and so many, just look around you. Who runs Google? Who runs Microsoft? Who runs IBM? Who runs Adobe? They're all Indians, right? All Indian engineers. So if you look around you, and this is why this organization is so important. In the first generation, all of us came here, we struggled, and we accomplished as individuals. But if there is one word I have learned in my career, it is ecosystem. The power of the ecosystem. We need to come together as a network. I like to say that your network is more important than your net worth. Because your value in the network economy equals what you know raised to the power of who you know. So if we raise our knowledge to the power of who we know, we can unlock tremendous value because together we are stronger, together we can help each other, together we can mentor each other. And now we can use these virtual platforms that we've become so familiar with. And I am blown away by what is happening in EdTech. Look at Byju's with $15 billion valuation. Emeritus, our partners in executive education, just raised money at a $3.2 billion valuation. And I started teaching these online courses 3 years ago, and I look back 3 years later, I've touched 12,000 students, which there was no way that I could have done that in a lifetime. And by the way, this is not free stuff we put on Coursera. This is $35 million in revenue that we've created. Right? So it's just the impact is mind-boggling. The platform is there. The opportunities are there. So get involved. Become aware of what is going on in India because I think there's a revolution brewing. And it will start to reach the surface. The only thing is that these product companies, the gestation periods are longer. People are working on space. They're working on, on a variety of AI applications. There's going to be patience needed, patient capital needed. But I couldn't be more excited. So that's where we've come. That's where we are. That's where we are headed. And I really think that this is really not the digital world. It's the post-digital world. A world that has 4 component technologies. The sensors and devices at the edge of the network that are our eyes and ears, the networks, wired and wireless, that bring the data from the edge, the cloud where the data goes and it is manipulated, and AI and machine learning that makes sense of the data. Those are the 4 building blocks that are going to power our way forward. And each of these building blocks is exponentiating. I want to just conclude with a statistic that will blow your mind. It blew my mind. You all know Moore's law. Many of you are engineers, you know Moore's law. So Moore's law said that the capacity of a processing power of a microprocessor doubles every 18 months. Artificial intelligence algorithms are following Moore's law. There was a study done by OpenAI. They are following Moore's law, but the half-life is 3.4 months, which means that from 2012 to 2019, the compute power of AI algorithms has increased 300,000 times. And it will double every 3 months. Just extrapolate that to 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and soon we will have synthetic brains. Soon we will have a digital twin of you that you can download onto the network. I don't think the time is too far away when we will be able to download consciousness. And then it'll raise the spooky idea that you may die, but your digital twin will always live on the network. Add to that CGI, it may even look like you. It will look like you, talk like you. You are no longer needed. Because I have you, I have a copy of you. So there are some really interesting and scary notions. Of course, we will need regulation. Of course, we will need to be careful about privacy and cybercrime. Those are all very, very fundamental issues. But we can't put the genie back in the bottle. So anyway, I see Raja is here. Raja, welcome. Yeah. So, I've done all the bullshit. Now you have to give the wisdom. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me, and we're happy to take questions. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we had some cards for some questions for Professor Sani, and there are only a couple of them, short ones, so we'll just go ahead with it. And if you have more questions, you can always talk to him. He's going to be around. First question is, what would you teach today's kids to be ready for next AI, which is artificial intelligence and technology transformation?
What I would teach kids today is that AI stands for assisted intelligence, not artificial intelligence. So it'll be the pairing of humans and machines that will create the best outcomes, that machines don't substitute for humans, they complement humans. So it's actually the idea of augmenting human intelligence with machine capabilities. So you don't need level 5 autonomy in autonomous vehicles. Level 3 is good enough sometimes. You don't need an algorithm to do the diagnosis. It can recommend the diagnosis. But then you need the doctors to make the decisions. So I think those, but the other thing I would teach kids today is understanding the fundamentals of analytics and data is a survival skill. Whatever you do, liberal arts, just like my dad told me when I was young. I said, Dad, I want to do psychology. He said, first do engineering. After that, you can do psychology. So I would say whatever your kid tells you to do, you say, first learn analytics. Learn the importance of data. And then you can do what you want because data is a fun. Even music, arts, everything will be founded on data. Everything is bits at the end of the day. So that's what I would say.
Second question, in your opinion, in which technical area India could be the world leader?
I think that India has the opportunity in AI to be the leader in a few areas where we have natural opportunity. Education, agriculture, right? So these, and because the scale is so high in education and in agriculture and in financial services. But in all those, we will take a different angle. Financial services in India will take the innovations will be like sachet marketing, pension of 1 rupee a day, micro financial services, things that in the US we're not even thinking about. Same thing with EdTech. EdTech is not executive education the way I teach, but it's how do you take education and scale it to hundreds of millions of kids. So scale, so agriculture and even in agriculture, it's sustainable, fundamental agricultural innovations. So those are the areas where we are naturally rich. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of people who rely on agriculture. So I think those are the areas where we should be pushing. And one more area where we have an interesting competitive advantage, that is defense technologies. So so this is where I think we have a need and we have a pretty good capability, and defense includes space.
And the last question, very quickly, product, OLA, where is it going? I don't know what OLA means.
Ola.
Okay. Ola. Okay.
Ola will be okay. Ola is a ride-sharing company, so as you know. By the way, have you tried to take an Uber lately? It's suddenly more expensive. Folks, this is the real price. Abhi tak you are being subsidized by the venture capitalists. Please say thank you and bow your head because now you're paying the real price for Uber. Same thing is going to happen in India with Uber and Ola. The price war will stop and then the prices will go up and it will reach an equilibrium. So I think ride sharing will reach an equilibrium, but it is not the subsidy is over. SoftBank has spent enough money. So now they expect to make profits, which is interesting. The laws of physics and the laws of economics catch up with you ultimately. So for a while, you can violate the laws of economics. But in the long run, death, taxes, and profits will catch up with you. So that's what's happening. And that's what happened to Olaf. So I don't want to take any more time. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sani. And one more time, let's hear for Dr. Sani. Thank you so much.
What a beautiful quality evening after a long time. Wouldn't you agree, guys? Please. An empowering evening after a long time, seriously. I don't know about you guys, but I am learning a lot, and I hope these are not just speeches, but I can hear all the hidden messages for me, especially from these speeches. Moving on, something exciting this evening, an inauguration of IBM project and incubation projects. I'll invite Dr. Deepak Vyas to introduce the CEO of T-Hub to join from India and talk briefly about the incubator project that AAEIO is launching. Extremely exciting. Big hand.
Very good evening. I know I'll not take much of your time, but at this point, I would like to invite Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy to the dais we have two important speakers in India waiting to speak and engage for innovation ecosystem. After a very innovative approach and the speech by Dean, I think you will be amazed to listen to the two speakers. One of them, a very dear friend of mine, who is a visionary and also a legend, who brought India on a global diaspora and also a motivation behind innovation ecosystem at T-Hub. T-Hub, as you know, is the largest incubator in India and now Asia's largest. It is supporting an ecosystem of 1,400 companies, and we will be listening to the Principal Secretary from State of Telangana, Jayesh Ranjan, after a few minutes. First, we will inaugurate Startup America project, a joint initiative of T-Hub, Association of American Engineers. We want to empower. I think the mindset is leaning towards prosperity. हड्डियों में गरीबी तो जरूर थी, पर आज का जो हिंदुस्तान है has a prosperity in the mindset. Every young person who comes to US for education wants to go back to India and support the ecosystem. What you will hear, what you will experience in the two speakers following this brief inaugural by Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy and the Council General, this is the beginning of ecosystem. Whether you are empowering 1871, whether you are empowering Silicon Valley, whether you are empowering Chicago's budding entrepreneurs, the thought of mindset is prosperity. I know when I started my company in India, the first thing I was asked is, do you have a phone? You know what? It used to take 20 years to get a landline in India when I started in 1984. I couldn't wait. But today, you call for a phone line and you would get number of them. The data. Data is empowering today. Technology is empowering today. It's no longer just a high-tech, B-tech, or C-tech is the revolution today. The mindset is calling for a change, and the change starts right here with Startup America project. I would like to introduce Raja Krishnamurthy, a very dear friend of mine and a congressman. Okay. Let's do the ribbon cutting first. Sure. So the president says, let us do the ribbon cutting first and follow by everything. At this point, I would like to invite Honorable Council General Amit Kumarji to the dais. And we have two speakers in Hyderabad virtually connected, and I welcome them. Ravi, who is the CEO of T-Hub, and Jayesh Ranjan, Principal Secretary for Industries, Technology, and Motivation behind Telangana's success on a global print. I will introduce Jayesh later on, but at this point, we will inaugurate Startup America so we could listen to Jayesh and Ravi and the following of it.
I'll request Murugesh to give the bouquet to Raja Krishnamurthy ji.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor to be part of our American Association of Engineers of Indian origin and a part of this evening. And it's a great honor that I'm going to like to introduce our guest speaker, United States Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. Congressman Krishnamurthy was born in New Delhi, India. His family moved to United States and eventually settled in Peoria, Illinois. He had his
Oh, I speak? Okay. Good evening. It's so lovely to be with you. I want to be very brief and observe those 3 rules of public speaking. Be short, be sweet, and be gone. 3 points. First of all, can you give a big round of applause to Gladson, to Ajit, Nitin, Abhishek, all the dignitaries here. I see Consul General, I see all the board and leadership. Can you give them a big round of applause? I see Commissioner Morrison, I saw Senator Murphy, I see a lot of elected officials and my good friend Professor Sani. And it's so lovely to be with you. Now, second point, it's so nice to be among fellow engineers. Gulzar, a very close friend, of course my neighbor, was correct to point out my engineering background. Now, when I was growing up in high school, my father said to me, Raja, you can do anything you want to do in life. I said, really? He said, yes. You can be a civil engineer, a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, computer engineer, or a doctor. So I said, okay, that's amazing. And then I ended up getting a BS in mechanical engineering. Of course, a lot of people say I practice the BS part now. But the point is, in all seriousness, this engineering background really informs the way that I think about issues on Capitol Hill. And the fact that you have that engineering background allows you to be full partners in solving some of our greatest challenges as a country and as a world. And so I thank you for everything that you do. The third and final point is this, AAEIO. That's quite a name. But I think what it really stands for more than anything else, and Deepak can attest to this, is that Indian origin people are the leaders in the world in engineering. Am I right about that? But Indian origin people are leaders in a lot of sectors, it turns out. In fact, if you look at the 2020 census, it is really astonishing how the Indian American community has really come into its own. Not only is the Indian American community the fastest growing ethnic minority in the country, not only does it have the highest educational attainment with the biggest percentage of people with a college degree, 80%, not only does it have the highest per capita household income of any group in the country, it's also some of the best looking people you'll ever see. Okay, the census did not say that. I may be embellishing. But the point is this, which is that this community is coming into its own. 4.3 million people. 4.3 million people who are fast becoming one of the most vital forces of energy, entrepreneurship, industry, journalism, and of course, as a member of the 4 Indian Americans in Congress, the Samosa Caucus. At the end of the day, you are the reason why I'm in Congress, and you are the reason why I get up every day and fight for our collective values as a community, but as a country. And so I just want to say thank you. And I want to close with my favorite saying, which is that yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And so I'm honored and blessed to be with you here for just a few short minutes of your precious time to celebrate all of you, to celebrate the bridges that you're building, to celebrate all your accomplishments and what you're doing for your friends, your family, your community, your state, and your country, and the world. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Jayesh Ranjan, IAS officer from state of Telangana. He has raced through the cadre, traveled the world, but most important is he has been a brain behind an innovation ecosystem at T-Hub. And I will ask him to speak. Are we connected? So ladies and gentlemen, may I now present to you Jayesh Ranjan, a great friend of mine, who has hosted several of our governors from Midwest and US for state of Telangana. I welcome him to this August gathering and let us listen to him. Jayesh Ranjan.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deepak. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Matter of great honor to be speaking to all of you. As Deepak introduced, I am a civil servant. I work for the provincial state of Telangana in India and look after the portfolios of information technology and industries. And I'm also responsible for fostering an innovation ecosystem in the state of Telangana. As you heard earlier speakers, Congressman Krishnamurthy, Professor Sani, and many others, innovation is the bedrock of all the progress that you see in India today. And since India is a large country, it's also a federal country. At the province level, at the state level, we enjoy lots of flexibility in designing what kind of innovation programs that we need to support and foster. For all of us in India, of course, Silicon Valley is the role model. The way the innovation ecosystem has been developed is something that we all strive to emulate. But we also have seen spectacular failures. It is not very easy to replicate Silicon Valley everywhere, and particularly more so when governments have tried to do that. But what we have achieved in Telangana presents a very different story. We have not just been able to emulate Silicon Valley in many aspects, we have also been able to better it in some ways by providing our own version to it here in Telangana. So many of you who are familiar with the success stories of some of the innovation hotspots in the world, be it Silicon Valley, even Midwest or Boston, or let us say experiences of countries like the UK, Israel, Singapore, Hong Kong. There are three basic ingredients which have made them what they are today. One of them is the very important role which is played by academic institutions. So for instance, the great universities like Stanford and Caltech and MIT, Harvard, Boston, etc. And in the UK, for instance, Cambridge, Oxford, etc. All of these have spawned hundreds of brilliant innovators who earlier used to be students in these institutions. And with the help of the faculty, they have been able to come up with amazing transformative products and solutions. We in Hyderabad, I forgot to mention, Hyderabad is the capital city of the province of Telangana. We in Hyderabad are blessed by having some amazing world-class academic institutions of our own. We have the best business school in India, which is called the Indian School of Business. One of the best technology schools, which is called the International Institute of Information Technology. One of the best law schools, that is called NALSA. And each of these three academic institutions are brought together by the government on a common platform. My colleague will share more details of the T-Hub in a while. But this was the first buy-in that we achieved by getting all the three academic institutions support the innovation work which is happening in the government. The second important thing, which again is very important, is to provide high-quality infrastructure. There is plenty of talent, but at the same time, where is the infrastructure to help you do that kind of innovative work that is required to meet the problems that people face? So the government itself took the lead in creating that infrastructure. We created a series of incubators, accelerators. Hyderabad also has an amazing array of R&D institutions. But in the past, we would notice that the doors of all these institutions would typically be closed to startups. So we created another platform through which great startups can get connected to R&D institutions, and whenever they require any kind of support from these institutions, the platform always made that support available to them in a very seamless manner. One other challenge that we notice in India today, and perhaps the rest of the world as well, is that the world of startups itself has become extremely competitive. And finding the first customer in the market is always a challenge. So we came up with a brilliant policy in Telangana, which mandates upon the government that if a homegrown startup has a good product or a good solution that is of relevance to the government, then the government itself will become its first customer. And this is a preferential procurement policy which today has become some kind of a national role model. And we feel very proud about it, that it all started here in Hyderabad, in Telangana. 5 years of experience of working with startups have shown to us that there are amazing products and solutions while they are developed in the context of the Indian customer, the Indian population, the Indian market. But the product by itself has the potential to do well in other geographies also. And some years ago, we have started this concept of a bridge. How does Telangana startups bridge with the counterparts elsewhere? And I'm very happy that what is being done today will be a very valuable bridge between India and the Midwest. We'll be able to get lots of young ideas, young entrepreneurs, create, find market opportunities in the US as well. And I'm very grateful that Vyas, our CG, Krishnamurthy, and all of you distinguished members are present today to bless the bridge program. I have tremendous confidence that the bridge will be bi-directional. Not only Indian startups use the bridge to reach the US, some amazing US startups, particularly those who are located in the Midwest, they will also see the huge potential of Indian markets and try out some of their solutions here as well. As many people point this out, we have India is making rapid progress towards a glorious path of development. There are still large number of unmet needs, many unsolved problems, and which are waiting to be solved. And given the scale that we can provide, given the support a proactive government like ours can ensure, this is something which will be phenomenal. It will be extremely attractive for Indian startups to reach the US, for US startups to reach India using this connect, using this bridge. So I'm very happy that Mr. Vyas has taken this initiative, bringing all of us together. And I wish all of you very well and pray for the success of this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now I have the pleasure to introduce Ravi Narayan, the CEO of T-Hub. Ravi, an alma mater of myself, has been instrumental in accelerating and co-selling programs and running incubators in India. Based out of Hyderabad, he has been pioneering new generation products, new business models, and making it happen. Ravi is also considered as the Microsoft of incubator, generating those ideas, bringing them to fruition, and making them work. So with that, I'll ask Ravi to give us a 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Can you hear me? Great. Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor to be amongst the folks at AAEIO. I'm also thankful for Dr. Vyas for having invited us to speak at this very momentous occasion. Having the Congressman, the Consul General, and Professor Sani is marking this occasion in a very special way. Mr. Jayesh Ranjan already spoke about the efforts of innovation ecosystem in Telangana. I just wanted to also bring it home to you. So just like all of you, I'm also an engineer, and engineer of the Indian origin who used to live in the United States. So Professor Sani did a wonderful job of laying out the fascinating work that's happening amongst the startups in the startup ecosystem in India, especially as it is happening in Telangana, which Mr. Jayesh Ranjan laid out. I think while all of these things are, easily available on Google, it's available on various other forums of startups. I think what I want to bring home to you is the fact that it's at the same time a very personal connection that you could potentially have. So I used to live in the United States for 18 years. I built two of my startups in the United States in the state of Maryland. I sold those startups and decided to move to India. And the reason I wanted to move to India was I wanted to do my third startup faster, cheaper, and probably even bigger out of India. But what I found out very quickly was that what we take for granted in India, in the US rather, is not available in the US as easily. And therefore, for us to really make that happen was something that some of us as fellow entrepreneurs, fellow ecosystem builders came together and made it happen. So today, from having no startups in India to having more than 55,000 startups across the country and growing rapidly, as Professor Sani said, with no unicorns to more than 65 unicorns already and 28 of them coming in this year alone, 2021, and we still haven't finished the calendar year. All of you to look at this, because this is the time when we are actually solving problems for the B2B startups. We are solving deep tech problems, and we are trying to do this with the kind of talent that you bring to the table. If you were to look at this as an opportunity for yourselves or for the startups that are actually solving these problems, I think it's a huge opportunity for all of us. So one of the things that you will find about T-Hub is that it is not a Y Combinator. It's not a Techstar. It is not, just an incubator. It is all of them put together. And why? Because I think the way Mr. Ranjan pointed out, we are not looking to do this one step at a time and do it organically, as we call it. We are trying to do this all together. And that's the reason when we started out with 400 startups way back in 2015, we have more than 6,600 startups today in the state. And also, as Mr. Jayasanjan pointed out, it's not just that these institutions are being built in isolation. They actually do it hand in hand with academia, with government, with investors, with research, with corporations in the state, and of course, startups across the world. So this is the very holistic view of building what we call as an innovation ecosystem, not just startup ecosystem. It's just ecosystem is just a subset of that. We've been able to accomplish some phenomenal results in a very short period of time. So I'm very happy to sign this momentous MOU with the organizations in Chicago, creating this bridge, and therefore make it a very much a reality for startups in India to use this as a hop-off point to access global markets. And also those startups that are there in the United States who are looking at India, which is not just a very large market, but also a market that is digitally savvy, which is also technologically savvy, and has a data repository that is ready for startups to be using so that they can hit the ground running. I think it's a phenomenal opportunity for both set of ecosystems to start working together. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And if you need any more clarification, help in tying up with us at T-Hub, please do write to us. And I would be very happy to take these conversations forward. Thank you.
Can I have Mr. Nag Jaiswal for giving the vote of thanks, please? Haji. Would like to thank Ravi Narayan and Jayesh Ranjan for such an incredible effort to join AAEIO. And thank you so much for joining us all the way from India and encouraging us and giving us this talk. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite Nag Jaiswal. Nagji holds a bachelor's degree in electronics and communication engineering, master's degree in electrical engineering. He is a CTO and a senior digital advisor with Salesforce. As a senior technologist, Nag serves on several not-for-profit organizations, including AAEIO. Please help me welcome Nag Jaiswal for the vote of thanks, concluding this beautiful evening. Please pay attention to Mr. Nag Jaiswal. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhura. First of all, sorry folks for keeping you all late. We have a huge, there is a program after the dinner as well. So just wanted to make sure you eat and stay back for the musical. We have put in a lot of hard work. So first of all, I would like to thank everyone for staying so long. It's not easy on a Sunday night. So thank you. Thank you for the board for having this. Thank you to the congressmen, Sean Costin, Raja Krishnamurthy, Professor Mohan Birsani, and all the sponsors. Can you all give a big hand to the sponsors today? Kapoor Group, SBI, Showfest, and all the sponsors. So Kapoor Group is here, and they have been doing wonderful in Naperville and Chicago area. So please give a big hand. We want this to grow into 1 million people. We are million engineers. This is just the beginning. So thanks everyone. We are going to have more programs after this. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you.
We're bringing live entertainment to America on a subscription-based model. We specialize in Bollywood. We are doing it like a Netflix type of business, for where you'll be able to pay monthly pricing to be able to see our shows.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to introduce a special guest and dear friend of mine, Suresh Reddy. He was the president of AAEIO. He was the president last year, and also he's become a politician now. He's a trustee of Oak Brook, and he's representing the whole city of Oak Brook. He wanted to talk to you about a few things about Oak Brook and the mayor of Oak Brook. With that, let me invite Dr. Reddy to speak a few words.
Thank you. Good evening everyone. And I'm lucky that I'm able to speak after you sat on the table after dinner. That's the best time. Chicago creates histories. In 1893, Vivekananda did create a history by speaking here. 40 years ago, the American Association of Physicians of Indian origin was formed in Chicago. It started with 10 members in a basement. Now it's 100,000 members in strength and multi-billion dollars in worth. And today, history is created here in this hall in Oak Brook. And we started with few members, but I'm sure this will grow multifold. Congratulations. Please give a round of applause to all the board members and Mr. Gladson for taking the lead. As you all know, Indians are solo flyers. We are very strong flying solo, but as a group, we are very weak. Our organizations are weak. I want to make 3 points. Coming to the second point, some young lady came to me, if you want to be a member of AAIE or EI, and I was an engineering student for 3 months before I became a doctor, because then I was majored in biology and math, and then I got admission to medical school. So if your bylaws approve, I would like to be honorary member of AAIE. Thirdly, I became a politician, a good politician recently. This town you are having right now, the dinner, is Oak Brook. I have a message from our mayor, Dr. Lal Malani, and our entire board. We welcome you to Oak Brook. Thank you for joining us. Lastly, Mr. Gladson has said he would like to see 100,000 members by next year. I would raise the bar. For every doctor in the United States, there are 20 engineers. So I would say you should have 1 million engineers by next year. And if you need any help in making members, please let me know. Thank you so much. Welcome to Oak Brook. Please join us. We have fine dining and exclusive dining and fine shopping. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Now I invite the Showfest team to present this video.
Welcome to the future of Bollywood entertainment. Bollywood entertainment with a stunning twist. Impressive lifestyle selections. Thrilling rewards. Building a strong community. Star-studded experiences and much, much more. Just for you. Showfest. Experience beyond entertainment. Bollywood, lifestyle, rewards, community. Launching on 26th September 2021. www.showfest.com. 1-888 Showfest. Just what you were missing.
Good evening. Do I have everyone's attention now? I hope you really enjoyed the video. Top A-listers who have exclusive rights to Showfest only next year to perform in America. We are performing in 6 cities. We're going to be doing 7 shows in each. We are going to be doing 42 live shows next year. What is special about us is we are bringing entertainment to a subscription-based style, just like Netflix. We have a lot of different businesses and a lot of different perks that comes along with what we're offering. The next person who's going to be speaking is Atmic, who's going to be talking about our loyalty partners.
Thank you, Mitch. So I just kind of wanted to share with you guys, the exclusivity of Showfest, right? We have a business partner loyalty program that is just exclusive to the Showfest members. So essentially what we did was we created a South Asian Groupon type platform that we, partnered up with over 700 businesses all over the Chicago area, exclusively just for Showfest members. So we're all about good deals, we're all about savings as well. So essentially the motto is that the money we save pays for our subscription. So we want to kind of uplift that community, uplift the small business community, and bring those discounts to you. Now, what I want to bring up to the stage is Gaurang. Gaurang's the head of IT for our company, and he's just going to be talking about the New Age platform, about Showfest.
Hello everyone. Today is the day we launched our product. We have been working on this from last 1 year, from the initial thoughts to the final execution. We have covered almost all the pain points any audience would have going to the Indian shows. So we are bringing technological solution. Before that, I would completely sync with what Dr. Sahni said. Network is more worth than net worth. And technology is at best when it connects people. What we are doing here is building a strong community. It's not just live entertainment. We are bringing businesses also together. What we are doing here is we are trying to build a Southeast Asian Groupon as well. Along with that, we'll have big brands on our technological platform just a click away. Gone are the days when you have to go to the arena and get the printed tickets. There will be no printed tickets. Everything will be on your app. And you will choose your own spot by looking at the view, 3D view in the app or the website. So today we launched the platform and we are happy to show you what we had through the video. Now, I would call our city head of sales, Mr. Ravi Rawat.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Neil. So, the best part of Showfest is it's founded in Chicago by the people of Chicago of Indian origin, and it's for the entire country, entire North America. So please log on to showfest.com and register yourself to get early bird incentives, bonuses, perks, and discounts. Thank you.
One of our sponsors, they're big sponsors, Kapoor Real Estate Group. We have Nidhi Kapoor and Puneet Kapoor with us. They're going to make a brief presentation. Before they come here, I want to tell you a story. So when COVID started in April, I received a thank you note from one of my customers for all the work that happened, and they had a deal closed while COVID was on. And you know, this is what we engineers do. We take it, you know, in the stride. And that's what Puneet does, is use the analytical skills, digitization, and help the customer. So I welcome Puneet and Nidhi. Thank you for sponsoring this program. And, you know, few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Nag. Hey, everybody. Who owns an engineer here? Wake up. Let's go. Raise your hand. Who owns an engineer? You're real engineers, right? Nobody's paying attention. That's all right. There you go. We are the Kapoor Group. We are a real estate practice in and around Naperville. We sell a lot of homes a year. We help you build and grow your wealth, right? So that's what we do. There's a song that goes something like this. We built this city on rock and roll. You guys wrote that rock and roll. You built the city. You guys are behind anything and everything that happens these days, so we love you. Thank you. We're supporting you because that's what you do is what's connecting everything we do these days. So everything we do, even for real estate, is all benefited from everything you guys do. So thank you for what you do. And if you ever need to sell, buy, or invest real estate, there's a card on your table. Please call us. We'll take care of you while you take care of the rest of the world. So thank you. And enjoy the food.
Do better. I specialize in organization design, and I'm also a dancer. Some of you might be surprised at what is an engineer doing with dance, but don't be, because Einstein, if you know, could also play violin. Ramanujan had a musical background as well. So Indian classical music, at least Indian classical music, I don't know about Western music that much, it's based on generating or inculcating this intuition that how do you fit different patterns into a time cycle, right? And what do engineers do? We think up of patterns, we think up of worlds where a different answer could still exist and be right. And Kathak goes a step further. So Kathak not only fits the patterns into a time cycle, but denotes it in the space and in context of a story or an emotion. So what do I mean by that? So when Nitin called me to perform today, he asked me to do something about the 75 years of India's independence. Yeah? So as soon as he said that, the first thing that came to my mind was, I need to wear something of Indian colors, so green, white, and orange. But the second thing that came to my mind was 75 is a very interesting number. And I want to fit the 75 in a 16-beat cycle. Yeah? So 16-beat cycle in Indian dancing or music, it always starts with one, ends with one. So 75, however, is not divisible by 16. Yes? So how would I fit it? So let me give you a simplifying assumption, or simplifying fact actually, that 75 is 25 times 3. Now you would say, why is this a simplifying fact? It is for a mathematician. That's what I call myself, a mathematician, or mathematician, whatever you want to call it. So, but this is a simplifying fact. And then 25 is what? 5 times 5. Yep. So as we know, time travels at the same speed, but sometimes it feels like it's moving fast, sometimes it feels like it's moving slowly, right? So I came up with a pattern which goes like this, and I'll count it on 16 beats so you can see it fits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in terms of showing it, in terms of presenting it or rendering it in physical space, you would see the 75 years of India's independence, we have made a lot of progress. But that progress didn't come at a simple speed. It didn't come in a very easy way. We had to course correct. Sometimes we thought that we were just making circles, or just going around in circles. Sometimes it felt like we were going in wrong directions. So here's the physical representation of this pattern.
From Chicagoland, Mr. Praveen Jaligama and Ms. Geetanjali Maru, who are going to entertain us for the rest of this evening with some beautiful songs. I know it's Sunday night and you all want to get home, but please stay back and support our singers for tonight. Thank you so much. Before they leave.
हमको मिली है आज ये घड़ियाँ नसीब से जी भर के देख लीजिए हमको करीब से फिर आपके नसीब में ये बात हो न हो शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो लग जा गले के फिर हंसी रात हो न हो शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो लग जा गले से Good evening, dear friends. I would like to thank Gladstone Verghese for giving this opportunity to me and my dear friend Praveen Jaligama to perform for you guys. I know it's very late and I appreciate all those who have stayed back. So let me introduce Praveen is also in the IT field and surprisingly he's also a singer, which is very rare. So proud to have him be my singing partner for tonight. So we start this evening with Praveen with his solo and then I'll come back to join him for some beautiful duets.
Thank you, Geetanjali ji.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I think you already had a great time, but I would like to quickly entertain you guys along with Miss Geetanjali here. We actually selected a few beautiful Esther numbers, so hopefully you like all these numbers. मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे डोर कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए ये शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे डोर कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए दूर रहती है तू मेरे पास आती नहीं होठों पे तेरे कभी प्यास आती नहीं ऐसा लगे जैसे कि तू हंस के जहर कोई पिए जाए शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे रोज कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए जब मैं करूं मुझे रोक देती है क्यों तेरी मीठी नजर मुझे टोक देती है क्यों तेरी हया तेरी शर्म तेरी कसम मेरे होश से जाए शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे रोज कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए Let's go, ladies. Also, gents. एक रुटी हुई तकदीर जैसे कोई खामोश ऐसे है तू तस्वीर जैसे कोई तेरी नजर बन के जुबान लेकिन तेरे पैगाम दिए जाए शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे रोज कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए ये शाम मस्तानी मदहोश किए जाए मुझे रोज कोई खींचे तेरी ओर लिए जाए Thank you, beautiful, beautiful ladies. Let me welcome Geetanjali here for the next song. Thank you. This is tributing for late Sri S.P. Balasubramaniam. Yesterday happened to be his first anniversary of his demise. ये हंसी वादियाँ ये खुला आसमां आ गए हम कहाँ है मेरे साजना इन बहारों में दिल की कली खिल गई मुझको तुम जो मिले हर खुशी मिल गई
तेरे होठों पे है हुस्न की बिजलियाँ तेरे गालों पे है जुल्फ की बदलियाँ तेरे दामन में खुशबू से महकी चमन संगमरमर में जैसा ही तेरा बदन मेरी जाने जा मैं तेरी चांदनी चिड़ियों तुम आज कोई
ये हंसी वादियाँ ये खुला आसमां
आ गए हम कहाँ है मेरे साजना
बंधन है प्यार का देखो टूटे न सजनी
जन्मों का साथ है देखो छूटे न सजना
तेरे आंचल के छाँव के तले मेरी मंजिल मुझे मिल गई
तेरी पलकों की छाँव के तले मोहब्बत मुझे मिल गई
ये हंसी वादियाँ ये खुला आसमां
आ गए हम कहाँ है मेरी साजना
बहारों के दिल की छनी हिल गई
मुझको तुम जो मिले हर खुश
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जाने तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे Thank you.
Those of us elected office subject to the same standard that you hold yourself. I was talking to some students recently who asked me what I had done recently that was bipartisan. These were high school students. And I said, if you did a group paper and you get a D on your paper, and you said to your parents, good news, I did this. I was down in just before John Lewis died. I went down to Selma and got to walk across the bridge with him one last time and met just so many amazing people down there. But John Meacham, who's the author who you may see on television, had this wonderful distillation of what it means to be a self-evident truth that everybody was created equal. And the beauty of America and the inspiration we take from our founders is not that they were perfect, but they were capable of envisioning a world that lived up to a standard that they themselves could not reach. And I tell that story because that is the essence of the